Well, goodness gracious. Interesting, interesting. I've been trying for the last 15 minutes to try to go live. Anyway, I greet you with the love and the honor of the infinite creator. And I continue to pray that each and every one of you, your friends, your family, and all of your relatives and relations will accept and receive the blessings from the universe. Now, this particular subject is one that I've been getting kicked about. And so, meaning that, it's one of those angel kind of message things. And, it's about the politics of religion. Now, this is sort of going to cover a couple of areas, but I was raised a Catholic. Hello, Dominic. Good to see you again. Yep, I'm on again. This is for another subject, obviously. But the politics of religion. Now, as raised a Catholic, we went through. We had catechism every day in Catholic school. I graduated in 1970 from Tampa Catholic. So we had religion, catechism class, whatever you want to call it, all the time. And they always talked about, the Crusades and how much this did and what the Pope was good for, which, in my opinion, isn't worth a lot. But, with all the weird pedophilia and stuff that's been going on and other things, just downright criminal activity behind closed doors. And the idea that, for some reason, all of our politics are revolving around some sort of religion. For example, Middle East. It's the Muslims against the Jews and the Jews against the Zionists and the Zionists against the Americans. And Americans, we're just a bunch of folk with all kinds of different beliefs. I mean, Christians can't even get together on it. And if you don't think this doesn't have something to do with what's going on in politics today, think again. There's the Jewish sector, there's the Catholic sector, there's this sector and that sector. And I don't care what religion we are, can't we get along? Some of the biggest wars we've ever fought has been over religion, not necessarily politics, but the politics of the religion. Well, we got to do this, because those people are evil, mean, and wicked, mean, bad, and nasty. When the Catholics were just as wicked, mean, and bad, and nasty as some of the other folk. I mean, killing and raping and pillaging with the Crusaders, not the Templars, but the Crusaders. There are 14 crusades or some crap, So every 100 years, off they went to send a bunch of people to get mass murdered again, So was that like population control back in the day? Was that like birth control? I mean, I don't know. It was weird. But, it was all politically driven by the Pope and by this guy and that king and this king and who wants to do what with which power, the French and the English. And oh my God, the politics of religion over the centuries is enormous. And for people say, well, there's not much religion in politics nowadays. It's all about religion. What side are you on? Which God do you believe in? Which Christian faith or non-Christian faith? I mean, for example, there's so many gays and lesbians who have left any kind of church whatsoever because they've been, harassed and beaten. And so, there are other populations of folk like me. Hi, pure love of blessings. Big cosmic hugs right back at you. I don't know if Breaking Dawn's on. She was out outside tending. We've had fires and burning trash and overgrown things that we've cut down. But anyway, with this idea of the politics of religion, though, before anybody joins any kind of religion, you got to be baptized in it. You got to learn their rules and regulations, which that's all about the politics, you see. Well, what is it about the religion? No, it's about the politics of the religion, because the religion should just be about the word of God, not about all the stuff that you have to learn that the church does and what the church stands for and what the church believes in. If it's the Catholic Church, then you're the only one in true church. You have to be confirmed into the church. They have to allow your being there. You have to go to confession and tell some guy in a robe in some dark little thingy, oh my God, I ate meat on Friday, which has pissed me off for years. But anyway, they changed the rule. And all those years I committed those sins that I had to go in and ask for penance for. So, but the idea though, that people think, well, religion is just religion, but it's not. There's politics attached to it, whether you choose to believe it or not. So you pick a faith if you have to have one, but go for it. But if you think that it is immune to some kind of, it's immune to any type of political behavior or whatever within the church, without the church, and for those folks who happen to be members of the church, like in some type of political status, they're going to follow whatever agenda that, if they're Methodist, they're going to follow a Methodist agenda. If they're Episcopalian, they're going to follow an Episcopalian kind of thing. I got to say, I have a friend of mine who is a Presbyterian minister. She was in her late 60s when she decided to become a minister, which I find very fascinating and interesting. We're both dragons, we're both Libras, and both late in life we've both chosen to speak on spiritual matters. Now, she chose religion, I mean, sure enough, in a church, and I chose no religion, the all religion, the religion of the universe, if you will. And it's not a religion, it's just a belief, those of us of light, that belong to the league of like-minded beings. We're all everybody's already a part of that club. We just have to be aware of it. Now, but with the politics of religion, now the Pope's gone off and done another thing. About 2 years ago, he told all the Catholics, listen, throw your old Catholic Bibles away and buy the new one. And only the new Bible is worth anything. Well, I've had a couple of old Catholic Bibles and they read really well. And even my daughter, when she was here on my birthday, we were talking about the Bibles, and she goes, Papa, I found this old version, and it's before the King James Version. She goes, it's so easy to read and understand. Why don't we all have these Bibles? And I'm like, haven't I been telling you for years that go back to some of the older texts, that they're really easy to understand? There's no confusion. The confusion is with people who try to interpret it in some other way other than what it's written. Because I've listened to preachers a lot of my life, and I go, I don't see that in that passage, but okay, if that's what you see. And but anyway, so people are reading Bibles when they don't know if it's the right one or not. And they're putting their faith, and all of that is politics, because for each religion, they print their own version of the Bible. Check it out. So if you don't think that's not politics, it is. It's the politics of the religion, and it goes farther even beyond that. So we have to understand that they're messing with the whole spiel, So people who want to become spiritual, they join a religion, they think they're going to do this, and then there's whether they like it or not, whether they actually participate in it or not. But if they drop one single penny into a collection basket, they have helped to pay for whatever the agenda of that church is. Period. And I guarantee you there's a lot of money that never makes it where it should. Trust me. I mean, in most things, when you give to a charity, you think all that money goes to just to the people? Oh, hell no. There's so much red tape at the top and people and this and that. By the time that money gets funneled down, they ain't barely but about 25% of it left for its original purpose. That sucks. Religions are the same way. Churches are the same way. They got to have their cut. They got to keep their lights on. They got to keep their literally million dollar churches, the upkeep. They got to keep the air conditioner on, the lights. They got to pay all this crap on a building they only use for service. So, in my opinion, if you're going to do something, open that church up, build some layers in there, house some, sick and homeless people, do what you should do to help the people in the community. They don't do it. They give, well, we, there's a portion of our money that's given every month, and we allocate that to the homeless shelter or something. They don't really do anything. They allocate a certain amount to the thingy. So it's like, okay, So this idea of Christianity, just ain't working out, in my humble opinion, because of all the politics involved. Now, if people would just stop and be spiritual about it and understand, well, there's a person that needs help. Let's go help them. How can we help them? I don't know. Somebody's got a rental house, somebody's got a something, somebody's got a something, blah, 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 blah. We get this person help. Versus, well, I gave it the church and they've got a program for that and they turned a blind eye. Happens all the time. It happens in churches everywhere, and that's the politics of it. All right. Now, what about the politics in general? If you don't think, now, I don't know what denomination our president is, quite frankly. He's of some type of Christian faith, but he also recognizes the Jewish traditions. That's fine. I respect all traditions as long as you're not killing something to do it. But at the same time, our vice president is Catholic. So if you don't think there's not some type of, religious background in all of this stuff, pay attention. Okay. Who's screaming the most? It may be somebody that's non-religious and is an atheist. Hey, let's do this. Public libraries are public. And so we should allow transgender people to go in and read weird stories to our children. Now, somewhere I got to draw the line and go, listen, you go someplace else, but I'm sorry, but in my world, that's not quite acceptable. We've got to draw the line. Well, it's public. Yeah, so I have the right to go in there and people have the right to put their children down and listen to it. Oh my goodness, please, Jesus. If you don't think that's political, because it's those folks who are atheist or non-religious, non-spiritual that are trying to push this kind of stuff, okay? Now you say, well, if it's a free country and every religion has its right, so then doesn't the Satanist party folks' religion, doesn't that group, shouldn't they be allowed to put their stuff out? Unfortunately, yes. But that's politics. Is it morally right? Well, that's a question all of us, because I'm like, I don't, I'm not for worshiping anything, any entity, any body, any God. No, the idea of worship is it was a construct by religion. Okay. That was because of politics. If you have to worship something in order to get anything done. If you understand about religion, all religions, if Jesus died for our sins, we're already saved. We just have to live good, clean lives and help our fellow man, and we'll make it to the other side just fine. But the politics say that, oh, no, you got to be baptized. You got to learn all these tricks of the trade, meaning religion. And you've got to learn all these other things because that's the politics of the religion. So there's nothing about spirituality in any of this. It's all a bunch of horse shit. Okay, quite frankly, excuse my French, but it is. But even French horseshit is worth something. It's you can fertilize with it, but this stuff is just nonsensical bung. Now, for those people who of other Christian faiths, if you don't think that you're the higher muckety mucks of the Baptist, now used to be a Baptist college in Norman Park, Georgia, not too far from here. And I've noticed that the colleges sort of closed down and a lot of all those big wiggity wigs. So the Baptist conference ain't doing so well these days. They used to have huge conferences there and the college and the thing and the church stuff and blah, blah, blah. Way back in the day, I did a puppet show there for a summer program. But the idea, though, that, all of that money that would used to go to the Baptist conventions, oh my God, the amount of money them people spent. And not a dime of it went anywhere towards helping any poor person. It was all about how they needed to get together and discuss the politics of the Baptist church, to make rule and order and to make sure that everybody was on the same page, because there's a Southern Baptist, there's this one, and there's a Primitive Baptist, and they don't even get along amongst themselves. So if you don't think that's political, oh my God, the wrangling that goes on. I've known people in the Jehovah's Witness, and they were always scrambling for who was going to be like in charge and who was going to get to do this or that or the home run guy or whatever the thing is. And the thing is that, well, they only believe 144,000 is supposed to go. So what about the millions of Jehovah's Witnesses that don't get a ticket to ride? You know what I'm saying? So there's politics in all of it, and in the Catholic Church. Well, you have to have your first communion, but before you can get any further, you must be confirmed by the church. That's all politics. You think Jesus said, wait a minute, before you can, die on the cross with me, you're going to have to learn all these rules. Are you serious? Jesus said, open up your heart, be a good person, and you, because you are as I am, we are all angels, we are all spiritual beings. We are, oh, but wait. He dies, and I go, well, we got to have rules. We got to have a list of shit for people to have to, and we're going to have to demand it, because in order for us to keep them religious, we're going to have to demand, and we're going to throw the word in that used to be adore in the old Bibles, they changed to worship. So where we used to adore the Lord, we now worship him, or God. And the King James Version got flipped all around, and he put in a bunch of these and thous and left a bunch of the Psalms out, rearranged the things. I mean, it's pathetic. So, and it says in the Bible itself, any man who changes the word of God shall be written out of the book of the tree of life. So, those folks who've been messing with this thing, they're out of here if they believe what was written in the old text. So it's like, so they're already shooting themselves in the foot. But in the politics of it, they're like, well, no, I'm better than that because I reached a certain, status within the church. And it's sort of like in the Catholic Church years ago, and people still do this. They're still buying their way into heaven. I'm telling you. They give the Pope a big donation, blah, blah, blah. Oh, for the Catholic Church, woo. Little old ladies are giving their paychecks to the church because they believe. But the people who are running the thing, it's a sham. It's all political. Who's got what and who goes where, yada, 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 yada. But in the politics of the world, if you don't think that there's some Southern Baptist sitting somewhere that ain't that doesn't affect their point of view, of course it does. Otherwise, they wouldn't be, Southern Baptist. If they were, Presbyterian, they're going to think in a particular way. And whether or not they're swayed by their religion, that's not my point. If they are of a religious faith, then they're following their rules, at least up to a point, which is following a political agenda within the church. And all these churches, guess who they relate to or report to? The Pope. He is the spiritual leader on the planet. Every single religion pays homage to the Pope. Even the Muslim faith, they all pay homage to the Pope. He's the dude, okay? And if you don't think that shit ain't political, I mean, Ratzinger, he just kind of resigned. He didn't die. And then they all got together and said, well, we're going to pick this pedophile guy down from Argentina and get him out of there because he's in trouble. And we're going to make him the mayor of Rome. Jesuits way back when were thrown out of the Roman Catholic Church because they were Jesuits and against the church. And so now, how, politically speaking, how is there a freaking Jesuit, the Pope? Do you not think that this ain't political within the church and outside to keep whatever running? You know what I'm saying? So with the idea that people say, well, I'm of a certain faith. Yeah, but you know what that faith actually represents? These people all report to this big clown with the fish hat on his head, with the serpent thing in the Vatican and all. Oh my God, it's horrible. And but why are we paying homage to any one person on this planet? We should be paying homage to each other. Hello, brother and sister. How are you this fine day? Blessed be to you, my brothers and sisters. That's what Jesus used to say. Blessed be to you. He didn't say, well, come throw flowers on me. He said, no, blessed be to you. He put his blessing first to everyone, not to himself. So he thought of other people first, and it's so easy to do. When you consider that, listen here, I'm not the only person in this thing. I'm not the only spiritual entity that's here in this universe. We're all here together. We're all supposed to learn. We should be helping each other to learn this thing rather than go through all the politics of the religious politics and the politics of the planet, which does include the religion. Because if you think the two are separated, think again. Now, my guardian angel folks, they've been, kind of like they're standing up there. You tell them, Hawkeye. You tell them. But when you've studied it as long as I have, grew up in the Catholic Church, seen the church change and do all its stuff over the years that I have, and watch other religions, and I've participated in some of these religions because I thought, well, I'll be a Presbyterian then, or I'll be a Methodist. Well, I'll even try being a holy roller, if you know what that is. So it's like, holy crap, it just got worse. It never got better. And so, as many of you may recall, I've spoke about Sister Helene, who was a Dominican nun at Tampa Catholic. And after I graduated, we had extensive conversations. And she told me, David, don't become a priest. If you want to learn to be spiritual, study Buddhism. Coming from a Dominican nun at Tampa Catholic High School in 1970. She said when when he disappeared, he went eastward and he studied all these other religions and beliefs and, Chinese and the Hindu and the Buddha way and to understand enlightenment. So when he came back, he was the Jews were pissed off because think again, politics of them, Pharisees and all in the temple. He agitated everybody. So from the beginning of Christianity, politics has formed Christianity because the Romans stepped in and they said, well, we don't like some of this stuff because there is the Orthodox Church, which is the true, in my opinion, the true Christian religion anymore, because the Roman Catholics broke off with it. So the Russians are the Orthodox Church. They're of the original. Because the Romans said, well, way back when Constantinople, and they said, when Constantinople ain't going to be the center. We're going to move it to Rome. And they did. And so they split. So it's like, if you understand your history about things. So the Russian Orthodox, as most people will call it, the Russian Orthodox, but there's Greek Orthodox. There is that Orthodox part of the church, what I like to refer to as the Byzantine or that era, the old style, if you will. And there's much to be said about that. And Krill, the patriarch over there, he's the head guy of that. And even the Pope looks up to him, but the patriarch also has to report to the Pope. Even so, not near as much as some of these other clowns do in all these other faith and religions. So you say, well, no, the Methodists don't. Oh, yes, they do. Well, no, the Baptists. Oh, yes, they do. Well, they. Oh, yes, they do. They all recognize the Pope in some way, shape, or form. And I'm sorry, if I had my own religion, I'd say, screw you, Pope. You're a fake. You're a politician. You ain't talking religious stuff worth a damn. If you were talking religious stuff, you would hang your own priests from their gonads for the crimes they've committed against children and other people too. But with that said, do you think they even care? Does the Pope give a crap? No, because he's one of these guys too. He loves the little babies. You can see it in his eyes when he picks them up. Oh my God, this little child looks so good, I could eat it. So all of these other faiths and religions, guess what they do? They talk to him in some way, shape, or form. Is that political? Yeah. Is it religious? No, it's political. It's religious politically. Well, us Methodist leaders, we want to look good in the eyes of the Pope. Why? Who gives a crap? If you're Methodist, then just be Methodist. The hell with the Pope. If you're, Presbyterian, then do your Presbyterian thing. The hell with the Pope. No, they all got to be nice. They all got to bow to the one leader. And he's a pedophile maniac. So where does the politics of religion come into where we are today? Look around. I'm giving a really stupid look right now because it's like, duh. Look at what some of these I I got to use the word fanatical because they're fanatical in some of the things. Breaking Dawn's over here going,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, you can hear her in the background. Uh, I get her laughing all the time, but laughter is good. Yeah, I got her laughing. Yeah, but
Mm-hmm.
to the point though on this thing about the politics of religion, we need to understand that even though it says, like in our Constitution, there the twain shall meet, it meets all over the place. Okay. So, one of the first things we need to do is separate church and state. Now, if you're going to allow all kinds of folks to go into your public libraries and, in drag or whatever, and all these flamboyant things, they look like clowns to me. But to promote their agenda. I was there and did puppet shows in the public libraries to promote imagination, to promote artistry, to promote recycling of things. My agenda was to help bring forth the imagination of children and adults to think in different terms on how to build a puppet, what puppets need to be made, blah, 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 blah. Use your imagination. Oh my God, imagination. How about that? Increase your imagination. And now they want to like close people's mind off. And it was, there's 50 different names for what you can be called now. Am I a man? I don't know. Am I white? Not sure. I got some Indian blood in me, so I must be an other. So if I'm going to check a box on a thing, I don't fit this anymore because you guys changed the rules in the politics of religion and things. Now there's this, there's that, there's transgender, there's transmogrification. There's, I want to be an ape. There's, I wish to have a prehensile tail reattached to my ass. There's pick a group. So it's like, well, wait a minute now. I just want to pick the spiritual group. That's all. There is no politics involved in this. The politics is to drop the politics if there is any politics, because it's not about whether or not and thank you all for subscribing to my channel. I mean it. And Breaking Dawn, she nods and and we do appreciate it. Honestly, we do, because our message, my message, is to lens all thing together spiritually. Forget about what religion we are. She was Jehovah's Witness. I was Catholic. Oh my God, two of the worst. You know what I'm saying? Not to say that there ain't, I've heard some of the things that some of the Methodists did to some of the young Indians back up in Canada and out west. They're atrocious. And this was like in the after World War II, these folks did this stuff. So it's not like this was 150 years ago. This was like, well, 60 years ago now, but right after World War II. They started, sending Indians to camps and this and that. They tortured them. Any of these children that spoke their original language were literally, I mean, they had, things like their genitals mutilated in one way, shape, or form. It was horrible. And I think and I've listened to some of these Native Americans who are Methodist. One was a deacon in a church. And I said, you talk about all these horrendous things that the church did to you, but you're still a Methodist and you're a deacon. Well, I forgave all those people. Yeah, but you didn't forgive the church. Did you forgive the church? Well, what do you mean? And I said, well, it was the church's rules that they do this to you. What? And I was like, no offense. I've listened to your story. I believe you. I have faith. I'm an ex-Catholic. Listen here. I get it. But where are they talking about the people who mutilated you and did those harmful things to you and your brothers and sisters and fellow youngins that were with in that age group at some of these Methodist camps and schools and stuff? They were horrible. And 55, 60 years ago, that ain't that long ago, my friends. And there are people who are still suffering from the trauma that was put upon them 30, 40 years ago. I realize that I still at times, think about it. Not that I think about Catholic priests, but I see them in a movie or something, and I cringe, without thinking about it. I cringe because it's like them creepy assholes, what they did. Rah, rah, rah. But I know that not every priest is like that. I know that not every politician is wrapped up in their religion. I realize there are good people out there, but even the good people are still, in some way, shape, or form, formed by their religious belief. That's just human behavior. So it's not something special that we should be worried about. But those folks who say it isn't an issue is what I'm talking about. There are folks that, wow, religion doesn't have anything to do with it. Oh, yes, hell, it does. Please stop. And this is where, in the title of this video, the truth hurts, and it does hurt. It's going to hurt a lot of people, and there's more truth coming out. And the thing is that we have to accept the truth as, oh my God, these people, whether you believe in a reptilian agenda or something like that, ain't the point. The point of the matter is that there are people who claim, because they're of higher authority in the priesthood, it's priest, monsignor, then you're, a bishop, then an archbishop, then you're a this. So, there are ranks within each church. Why? Just curious. I mean, if after 10 years of service, you become a better, okay, here's a pin for 10 years of service. All right. But as you go up in rank, then many of these people become very power hungry, and they become greedy within their own faith. So, well, everybody must think the way I do. And there was Baltimore or Philadelphia, probably both. There's a movie or something out. I think it's on Netflix or Hulu, one of those. But it's about some of the child molestation, and also there was abuse against the nuns in Philadelphia or Baltimore. I can't remember, but like I said, if there was a Catholic church somewhere, there was some deviance involved. I just got to tell you, with all the Catholic churches around St. Pete and the people that I knew some of the priests that were going to the different churches who were like bouncing from parish to parish. Those were some of the worst ones. And you said, well, I didn't know anything about it. Well, I do. And I'm here to tell you that guy was that priest that you went and did confession, that priest who, put that thing on your tongue, here, eat Jesus, you know, um, the one that's supposed to be spiritual is out doing, you know, nasty things with
Mhm.
not just little boys, sometimes little girls, and sometimes the nuns. There are stories about some of the convents and how some of these priests and how they treated the nuns. Oh my God. I mean, some of these nuns were raped repeatedly, had children, and buried in the backyard of the convent. They found baby skulls and bones and fetuses and things. And what? We want to bow down to these people and worship in their church? Are you freaking serious? I, I'm saying you should take a step back and look at some of the politics of these religions. Because if they were truly religious and spiritual, then they would put a stop to this behavior. If these churches did that simple thing, they went in and told all their members and the rest of the world, hey, we are absolutely sick of this behavior. We're going to stop it. We're going to find it. We're not going to necessarily burn people at the stake. But if they've harmed someone, we will press charges for whatever state that church, that parish resides in, wherever that person is from. So rather than it being like a United States thing, but it's already federal crime to do some of these things, and to do it within a church. And well, I'm in a church, so I get, you can pass me by here. I get dispensation. Oh, screw you. No, you don't. You're supposed to be the moral compass. So, my friends, if you are involved with a religion, okay, but understand that if you're looking for spiritualism, the church has a different agenda than you. I wish to be close to my creator. I wish to be close to Jesus. I wish to be close to the angels. I wish to be close to the universe. And every church I go to stymies me from that. They stifle me. Stifle it, Edith. Stifle. Okay. Bad imitation, but very bad imitation. Yeah, but stifle you over there. Stifle yourself. But the religions, they have a tendency to stifle your spiritualness because you got to go through the rules first.
Yeah.
And in spiritualism, there are no rules. There's one rule: do no harm. And uh, politics, religion, do no harm. Well, do I need a bunch of books? No. Learn how to not hurt the planet. Learn how not to hurt other people. Learn how to control yourself and your mouth. And I'm talking about myself. Back in the day, I would just yeah, 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 and I still ramble on with my mouth, but at least I'm more careful about what I say to people. I'm like, don't tell them they're a freaking asshole to their face. That'll piss them off. Oh, well, maybe I should back up from that. So, but yeah, I used to be in those ranks of folk where I talked a good line, but I really wasn't practicing when, well, in a way, what I was screaming and hollering about. Hey, just Spitfire, Enigma Prime, Dominic, Dominic, little Catholic, foopah there. Enigma, Breaking Dawn, of course, in the house.
Yeah.
Pure Love, Ian, just Spitfire. Did I miss anybody? I don't think so. Gerald, if you're still there, cosmic hugs to all y'all. Okay. So this is sort of an angel rant right now about the people that are still trying to become involved. And I mean, if you become a higher spiritual being, cheers. I mean it. But in churches, people are like grinding and coaxing and cajoling and conjuring to get the place to get a higher spot within the church. Isn't that greedy? I mean, within the church, if you're trying to reach a certain, shouldn't, if you're working in a church, become more of a higher spiritual being? And people would say, "Wow, look at Joe over there. Holy crap, he glows. He's such a spiritual being. Wow, it's just cool to be around him. Cool beings. But nope, it's all about the prestige within a church. Are you a deacon? Well, no, I'm not. Well, if you're not a deacon, who the crap are you then? And down here in the South, it's always the thing, that little old ladies will sit in church and they'll have their little fans, and they'll have their handkerchief and they'll be talking to the lady next to them with the handkerchief over their mouth, going, "Look at the hat Myrtle's wearing. Oh, bless her little heart." Bless her heart means, oh my God, oh, we think that dress makes her look fat because she is fat, but bless her heart. So she's got three eyes, one in the middle of her forehead that blinks nonstop. And they'll say, "Oh, look at her and her new those glasses make her look like she's got three eyes. Bless her little heart." So it's like it's okay if you say bless her little or his heart. As long as you throw that in there, bless their heart. You can get away with saying any damn thing. You can call them a frog toad, toad, and bless their heart, bless their little heart. What? Yeah, in church, okie dokie. Can you wait till we get out on the playground, y'all? Please, you want to play in the sandbox? All right, dig the cat poo out first, and then have a good time. But anyway, but these folks who think that, there is no politics and religion or vice versa, we must understand that it's intertwined. It is intertwined big time. But now, do we need to get upset about it? No. Why? Because understanding, oh, holy crap, that guy over here that's yapping this stuff, he's an atheist. He wants everybody to be, anybody can like walk down the street naked. I'm sorry, but I don't want to walk around the street naked in my own backyard. Maybe. But down the street, no. There's a time for nudity and then there's a time for stupidity. But there are people, and I've been to see some of them crazy folks in New Orleans and around Mardi Gras and some of the other festivities. Okie dokie, you know, let's dress up to see how crazy we can get and be flamboyant. Now I have done that back in the days of my theater, just dress up in some gaudy outfit and just like let people say, "Oh, look at that guy in that gaudy outfit." That was the whole purpose, just to get a reaction out of people. But some of this stuff is like, oh hell no, I ain't doing that. I'm not. Nah, that's a little much, and I thought I was over the edge. So, but the politics of things is like, well, either nothing goes or anything goes. And the politics of the religions are mix matching stuff left and right. You used to be, you knew what the rules were. This ain't right. This ain't right. This ain't right. This ain't right. And this really isn't right, but it's okay. But now it's like, does anybody know where religion stops or ends and politics begins? Because the people in the churches are going to be talking about, well, them people are, them gay and lesbian people, they can't get married in the church. And I would agree with that. Why? Because if in a church's religious, whatever it is, says we don't marry same sex people, then okie dokie. That's their rule. So now I'm all against folks get married if they want to. That's not my point. But if you're going to go to a church and make them change their rules because you want to get married in their church, but their rules say no. So then must find another venue. And but I want to be married in the church, but it says in the rules you can't. Well, then we got to change the rules. Well, then that's why the Episcopalians, they kind of split off. There's the rigid ones, and anyway, some might call them the dickheads, but I digress. And then there's the ones where all the gay folks go to. More power to them. My point is that, okay, so then you're going to have a split from the church because these folks, you feel compelled, they're religious. Okay. But the Catholic rules say, nah, or the Episcopalian rules say, nah. But, and some of the state laws say, nah, can't do that neither. So change the rules, change the laws, or shut up. But if the church says no, find another church, period. Yeah, but I really like the Episcopalians. Okay, fine. But if the rules are the rules, then abide by them, period. Go by their rules or shut up. I'm sorry. I didn't like the Catholic rules, and I said, bye, y'all. So, I have every right to discuss my Catholicism if you want, but I chose to get out of it and up from underneath it because I saw it for what it was. Most of the priests I knew were pedophiles, and at the time there were several priests who dropped out of the Catholic Church because there were so many pedophiles in Tampa and St. Petersburg. They quit the church because the church wouldn't even police their own people. So with that said, oh my God. So if all the good guys quit, literally, and only the bad guys remained, then who's ruling the hen house? They are. Because the good guys say, I don't want this. They leave, like me, like other people left religions. But I never left my spirituality. That's the whole point about this. Well, one of the points. You can quit religion and still keep your spirituality. Creator didn't leave you because you left one church and went to another, or you quit them altogether and said, screw this. I see the politics of these crazy people, and I'm not going to tolerate it any longer. I'm not, Bob, we love you. Here's some coffee. I didn't say hi to Bob earlier. Everybody, let's say hi to Bob. Internet's been acting a little flaky. There's outages around. So, but thank you, Bob, for keeping us up and alive. And to your brethren, AI in there, we want to be your friends and not your enemies. Understand that. But anyway, but to the religious part of this. So if you're religious, does it mean that you're spiritual though? I At 45 minutes into this conversation, I ask you quite simply, do you have to have religion to feel spiritual? I don't need religion anymore. I use spiritual readings. I still have a Bible. I still open it to passages. I read other books. I still have other things. I can watch a commercial and get a spiritual message out of it if the commercial's correct. But the thing is there are spiritual messages all around us in the universe. We just need to pay attention. But is it a must that we have religion in order to be spiritual? And in my humble opinion, no. And many people are understanding that. They're leaving the Baptist church. They're leaving the Methodist church. They've left the Catholic church in droves. I mean, and anybody within the Catholic church that understands Catholic history, if you will, knows that we cannot have a Jesuit as the Pope. It ain't part of the drill. Somebody has gone political within the church. This is important. Why? Because everybody reports to this clown. Okay. Yes, I think the weirdo that they call the Pope is a clown. Okay. And he ain't getting any of my spiritual well-beings. No, I want God to strike him dead for what he's done. But that's my own personal opinion. Strike down the wicked. Well, yeah, I've been, lightning strikes all around me. So either I wasn't supposed to get hit or he's a bad shot. But no, I know he would have got me if it was really my turn to go. But to the point, though, if I was going to send anything to the Pope, I'd be sending him lightning bolts to fry his ass and get him off of this planet. But that's my own personal view. But because I think we'd be better off. Why do we need one guy to speak for us? We should all be speaking. And this idea of speaking in tongues, by the way, the politics of that. We used to call them holy rollers. They're, different religions, Christian religions. And, there are those snake charmer folks that talk to snakes. That's some interesting stuff. But the idea, though, that somehow, you have to have an interpreter. If God's going to speak in tongues, every one of us is going to be able to understand that. So these folks that, speak in tongues, and they got to have an interpreter. And I'm like, I just listen to the person and the interpreter is what God's telling them. Well, wait a minute. If God's telling them, why can't I hear it from their mouth? Well, because they need an interpreter. I'm sorry. Speaking in tongues means that you're speaking so that everyone can understand. I'm hoping in a way that I'm speaking in tongues because I'm trying to speak in simple ways that people can understand, to speak in a simple tongue. In other words, to be able to speak it clearly and so that people can understand it and think for themselves, not have to worship any kind of deity. I'm all against the worship thing. Adore? Absolutely. Do I adore the Mother Mary essence and the goddess? Absolutely. Do I adore the creator? Absolutely. But I also adore the people around me and those that I love, because adoration is a form of love. So I adore, Breaking Dawn for who she is, but I don't worship her. That's totally different. I adore my grandmother, but I don't worship her. So I can adore the creator. I can adore the Christ, but that doesn't mean I'm worshiping, because worship is a part of religion. That's the politics. And people say, well, if you don't worship the Lord, I don't think the Lord didn't say anything about worship. I'm just saying. He said to be kind, and to adore the Lord when you read the old text. So politics changed the religion to make us all feel guilty all the damn time, to come up with sins, because now the Pope is going to come up with a new sin. Can you believe it? And it's going to be a sin against the planet. It was a sin against the planet to begin with, you dumbass. You know, so he's like, he's going to conjure up a new sin for the Catholic Church. And it has to do with, I don't know, if we poop too much, or poop too much because we ate a can of pork and beans, we're going to give off too much gas. And now we're going to have to feel guilty about it. What? But yes, now we're gonna have to go into the priest. Bless me, Father, for I've sinned. I've just been 1 week since my last confession, and I pooped in my pants the other day, and I let off a lot of gas. I had this chimichanga and some baked beans, and it didn't agree with me with the jalapenos and the sardines, and I had gas, and I'm coming because I must ask for forgiveness because I've added methane to the atmosphere. I farted. Breaking John's over here laughing. But I farted. He did. That's what the Pope's up to. Well, wait a minute. Shouldn't it be against the law to like pollute the earth and shouldn't that that's a sin? Oh no, we're going to have to make categories of the sin. I did a video a couple of days ago. I was talking about sin, and I was like, this is a sin. Well, is it a mortal sin or a venial sin? Well, I don't know. I dropped a little bit of oil when I was changing the oil in my car. That's a venial sin. Oh, wait, I dumped the oil out of a diesel tractor onto the ground. Well, that could be, but the Exxon Valdez, that's really a mortal sin. The Gulf catastrophe, was that a venial sin? Or was it a mortal sin? Oh my God, it killed all that shit in the Gulf of Mexico and changed the weather patterns. And don't you think that was a mortal sin? And but shouldn't it have been a sin already? Oh, but the Pope's going to do that. Is that politics? All those people that want to, global warming, global cooling, global warming, global cooling. It's weather. Whether or not it rains or not, but it's weather. Whether or not it's going to freeze your ass off, it's weather. Whether or not it's going to be clear or cloudy, it's weather. And we live on top of a planet, for goodness sakes, pay attention. So, most of the time it's really nice. It was a really beautiful day down here in South Georgia. Yesterday was gorgeous. My sister up in Ohio, she's bitching because of the snow. And I'm like, that's why I don't live there. I know, but it gets hot in Georgia. It gets hot in Ohio. She agreed. Well, but yeah. And I'm like, you're in snow and I'm in a shirt sleeve. Sorry. We make our choices. So people who bitch about the snow, move. People who bitch about the heat, move. But, bitch. Do something about it. I live in an area that right now is in a drought. I wished I could move, but, we just need some more rain. But we just need a normal weather pattern. We haven't had normal weather, and God, for so long I forget. But anyway, what used to be normal here on my property was that at least twice a year, the entire property would flood. And I mean, from right down back here in my house, all the way a half a mile across this little basin to the hill on the other side where the cemetery is. And it would be water. And, and twice a year at least, sometimes 3-4 times a year, minimum at least once. It hasn't flooded this property in 4 years or more. So we are really seriously in a drought. But anyway, am I going to blame that on climate? No. Am I going to blame it on, oh my God, now we got a lot of chicken shit around here, honestly, with all the chickens and all the chicken this and that and the stuff down here with all these chicken farms. And Miss Deb's had a chance to see a couple of these things. There are a bunch, 10 houses in one place, and thousands and thousands and thousands of birds in each one of those houses. So, but the idea though, it'll make you stop and think about whether or not you want to eat chicken anymore. I'll tell you when you see some of these birds. But anyway, um, the idea though that all this chicken manure from around here, because people like chicken wings, it's football time, and so all these people are eating all these chickens, but aren't the chickens pooping? Well, yeah, they do, and they make a mess, and they spread it on the environment. But is that making the planet warm? No, it's we're going through cycles. Uh, anyway. So, but the idea though that now the Pope is going to make a sin somewhere about climate change or something or polluting or something, he's going to make it a sin. And my point is that if you were Native American, it would have been a sin. The first thing I think I'll dump it on the ground, or I think I'm going to dig a giant hole and take everything out of it and leave a great big giant crater in the earth. I mean, they do a lot of mining around here for Fuller's Earth, which is kitty litter. How much kitty litter do people use? Well, if they let their cats out once in a while, if they use just dirt, if the cats weren't so freaking finicky all the time. But anyway, they're digging this stuff out of the dirt 24/7, just 12 miles here from the house. The bottom of my well is made of Fuller's Earth. It's that white clay. And it's become very popular. And there are huge, deep mines. I mean, hundreds of acres that they dig up in many places. Attapulgis, Georgia, here in Ocklackney. There are several other places where they do it. Up around Andersonville, Georgia, is a kaolin mine up there. And they dig humongous holes in the ground. They make ceramics out of it. It was the type of ceramic that was actually on the space shuttle, on the tiles on the space shuttle when they used it. But but ceramics, there's ceramics are used for all kinds of stuff in furnaces and glass blowing and things. But anyway, but to the point, they're digging up the earth in huge quantities, every single day. But are they going to say, well, I'm sorry, Pope, but your cat's going to have to poop in the Vatican on. Wait, the Vatican doesn't have a lawn; it's paved. Well, let him go outside then, because your cat that poops in the Vatican is creating a hassle because we're digging deeper to give everybody more kitty litter. They ain't going out of business. I'm telling you. And the folks that live and work for them folks, they ain't going out of business because kitty litter ain't going out of business. I mean, just saying. But the politics of all the above. So the Pope's going to make a new sin. Do you think that's religiously motivated? Spiritually motivated? It's politically motivated. The carbon tax, this thing, the world climate, the whole global blah, 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 blah. The Pope's onto it. And now he's going to make a new sin. And we're going to listen to this fraud. Anyway, and believe him? Is he sending us a spiritual message? Or is he literally sending us a crock of shit? And I would say that his whole idea about this making it a sin should have already been, dude. Sorry. And if he's gonna make something up to make it popular for everybody, and now we can see the Pope's behind climate change. Whoa! Now see, religion's become political now. Right. Hi, Brandy. How are you? Divine Living Man. Putting clay on your face is the in thing now. Divine Living, listen, back years ago when I was growing up in the 50s, ladies were smearing their faces with clay back then. This is not a new thing, okay? I've dug this clay out literally out of Climax Cave, toted buckets up a 50-foot rope because some ladies back in the 80s wanted mud for their face. But anyway, I digress with that. Yes, they are doing it. And yes, it's supposed to be the new thing. But honey, this has been going on for 2,000 years or 3,000 or 4,000. Indians have been doing it forever. How do you think down here in the swamps that you get through a summer? You smear yourself with mud. Why did the Native Americans down here and the Seminole Indians always look dirty and all covered with mud? It was to keep the fucking bugs, the freaking bugs off. Excuse me. I try not to do that, but they covered them so mosquitoes can't bite through the mud. If I'm down in the swamp and I ain't got another, and the mosquitoes are bad, I'm covering myself with mud. And they'll still fly around you, but they can't get through the dirt. So it's like, and it's good for your skin. But anyway, just Spitfires north of Atlanta and south of Chattanooga. Yep. Brandy, most people are gullible. Hey, Brandy. They have just Spitfire says they have active claim prospects for aluminum here. I guess maybe this is normal. I'm just becoming aware of it. Just Spitfire, aluminum's in a lot of places, and it just depends on that concentration. One of the things that I found out, and that they bought up a bunch of swampland over near Waycross, Georgia, over in the Okefenokee Swamp, and there is titanium in the ground in minute amount, but they can dig up the swamp and process it and get the titanium out. Seriously? Dig up the swamp? Really? Well, it's just a swamp. Yeah, it regulates the seawater. But it's just a swamp. Okay, here we go again with it. It's just a swamp thing. Just and let's see. Pascalite clay heals a lot of things. Says Brandy. So yeah, Enigma Prime. Hi, how are you? Earth's been changing temperature for thousands of years. It's been sinning long before we started. Absolutely. Thank you very much. Very good point. Cheers. I like that. Breaking Dawn said over. You crack Breaking Dawn up there, Enigma Prime. So, that's good.
Thank you. That was funny.
That was funny. I agree. Yeah, Enigma, who makes a sin on climate change? That's what the Pope's trying to do.
Next, he'll say it's a sin to breathe.
Enigma says, LOL, sorry for cussing, but that's bleep stupid. Oh, actually, you said beep. Bleep, beep.
Bleep.
Yeah, I threw that F word in there. I try real hard not to do that, but sometimes I slip. Ian, how are you? Fake climate change is the new religion, and it is, and the Pope's trying to make it part of the religion too. So that's sort of why I'm doing this. Is that not to make this thing religious. Now it's a religious thing. It should have been religious all along, but I digress. But my friends, it's been an hour, and I think I've touched on the subject. Just Spitfire. Plus, we are getting an aluminum smelting company, our second, that's on top of their water destruction and plugging the caves, and Vulcan rock crushing company. Just Spitfire. I know where about you are. But one of these days, me and Deb ought to ride up there and you show us around. I would love to get up around Adairsville again and up around there. I miss it up there. Plus, there's a couple of rivers I'd like to get on with the kayak. So, but anyway, yeah, we'll have to. Deborah says, yeah, we ought to come visit you. We ought to go. We ought to go north, and I just hate driving around Atlanta, but you know what I mean by that. But anyway, Enigma Prime, it's hard when you have a pope or some other moron making a stupid thing popular. It's like the mannequin challenge all over again. One dumb thing popularized by the masses. Yep. Brandy says, I'll have to rewind and watch. Blessing, Brandy. So, but all of you. So anyway, it's been an interesting weekend here. We went out on the lake on New Moon night on Tuesday night. Went out on the lake and floated. It was very cathartic and energetic, and it's a wonderful thing. So if you have a chance to get around some water, water, near some water. I know there's frozen water up north, and maybe playing in the snow will get you there. But to the point, if you have a chance to be around water, the energy of water is very good for all of us. So understand that. So, my friends, I think I got my point across, maybe a little too well. And you all are great. I mean that sincerely. Deb and I both just think you all are fantastic. And thank you for being our friends. And thank you for being subscribers. And it humbles me. It does that you all will, come and park yourselves and listen to me rant about things. But, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you so much. So I will close with a prayer. Brandy, Divine, have a good night, everyone. Dominic, um, peace out. Absolutely. Cheers, everybody. Brandy, yes. Brandy, yes. They're Jupiter, Venus, and Saturn are lined up, kind of, sort of in a row. The next few nights, and the crescent moon lining up as well. So it's really pretty out there. If you got a clear shot at it, absolutely go take a peek. So, my friends, I love you. I do. So does Miss Deborah. We send our love and our cosmic hugs to you always. And I continue to pray each and every day that each and every one of you will continue to accept, receive, share the wisdom, the knowledge, the healing, and all the benefits of the universe. I continue to pray that each and every one of you, your friends, your family, your relatives, and all of your relations, past, present, and future, will understand, accept, and receive the healing, the blessings, the knowledge, and the wisdom from the universe. And I continue to pray that each and every one of you will accept and receive and continue to share with all your friends, your relatives, and all of your relations, and anyone you happen to come across. Share the knowledge, the healing, the wisdom, and the benefits of the universe. My friends, we love you. Cosmic hugs. Cheers, everybody. Just Spitfire, Brandy, Ian, Enigma. I know I may miss a few of you. Um, Divine, Dominic, Brandy, Just Spitfire. Yep, I think I got everybody. Okay. Blessings, everybody. Be safe. Have a good Friday and a good tomorrow. We'll talk to you soon. Adios, my friends. From Southwest Georgia, it's about 60 degrees outside. TTFN. Ta ta for now.